Missed calls, slow replies, messages scattered everywhere. If you're running a business, that's not just annoying, it's revenue slipping away. That's where Quo comes in, spelled Q-U-O. Quo is the #1 rated business phone system on G2. One shared business number for calls and texts. Stop missing customers. Start capturing every opportunity. Try Quo free and get 20% off your first 6 months at quo.com/tech. That's QUO.com/tech. Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers.
The Bleacher Report app is your destination for sports. Right now, the NBA's heating up, March Madness is here, and MLB is almost back. Every day there's a new headline, a new highlight, a new moment you've got to see for yourself. That's why I stay locked in with the Bleacher Report app. For me, it's about staying connected to my sports. I can follow the teams I care about, get real-time scores, breaking news, and highlights all in one place. Download the Bleacher Report app today so you never miss a moment.
Let's be completely honest. Are you happy with your job? The fact is, a huge number of people can't say yes to that. Too many of us are stuck in a job we've outgrown or one we never really wanted in the first place. But we stick it out and we give reasons like, what if the next move is worse? And I've put years into this place. And maybe the most common one, isn't everyone miserable at work? But there's a difference between reasons for staying and excuses for not leaving. It's time to get unstuck. It's time for Strawberry.me. They match you with a certified career coach who helps you get from where you are to where you want to be, either at your existing job or by helping you find a new one. Your coach helps clarify your goals, creates a plan, and keeps you accountable along the way. Go to strawberry.me/career and get 50% off your first coaching session. That's strawberry.me/career.
Hello and welcome back to the Psych Legal Pop Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about popular culture through the lens of an attorney and a therapist. I'm Tess Brigham. I'm the therapist.
And I'm Brooke Brigham. I'm the attorney.
And we are continuing our Sister Wives coverage, season 19, episode 19, Behold, I Come Like a Thief. So where should we begin? Do you want to start with the... I don't know if it's Sister Wives gossip per se, but there was a lot of chatter in the world about Coyote Pass.
Yes, and Sister Wives TikTok world, Instagram, that type of thing. So there's so I think it was one of our listeners actually emailed us about this. There's a story running in Touch magazine. Actually, I think it is not a recent story, which made me wonder, why haven't we heard about this? That apparently someone discovered a deed of release and full reconveyance from Janelle to Kody and Robyn, I guess. And that Janelle was bought out of Coyote Pass for $340,000. Now, I hesitated because normally on a deed of reconveyance, there's no
what does that mean, deed of reconveyance?
So basically you're just, now I'm thinking this through because, if you have an interest in property, mortgage or anything like that, there's a deed of trust, the mortgage is secured by a deed of trust to the property so they can foreclose on it. When you pay it off, the bank, whoever the lender is, gives you a deed of reconveyance, basically saying you paid this off.
Mm-hmm.
But Janelle wouldn't have, I don't know. I can't speculate about what this means. This is just a rumor. I'm sitting here thinking about all the machinations of, the deeds and how would that work? Because she didn't have a deed for, $340,000, and where is this coming from? So now I'm starting to really doubt the validity of it.
Yeah. Well, we did hear from someone else, like another listener, who said, this is where, before we started recording, I said, I think this has been debunked, that it's not true, that this isn't true. So.
Okay. Well, never mind. I sort of thought it could be true because, so another content creator, Sarah Fraser, she was reporting that someone got the 2025 appraised value of Coyote Pass through the public records, and that it was appraised at $1,389,000. Now, if you divide that by 4, that's roughly $350,000.
Mm-hmm. So the numbers are right.
Yeah. So it tracked. So that's why I got excited and thought I discovered something, but I guess not.
Huh.
I don't know. I don't know what to believe, because she had a close up of the tax record, but I don't know. It could have been something anyone prepared. I don't know.
Yeah.
But Janelle must have gotten paid something, because then she turned around and invested it in the
Tata Farms. But as we see from the timeline in the episode, they've already purchased, or the offer was accepted on Tata Farms. So I think that Janelle maybe went in, I don't know, this is just all speculation, but I wonder if she said, hey, she went to Kody. She went to Maddie and Caleb and said, I don't know how long this is going to take for me to get money out of this. Let's go ahead with the land, and then, put something together that says that she'll pay them back. Maybe they paid for it and she'll pay them back when she gets paid.
Yeah, I think she even said as much in a previous episode, but another listener gave us some information that that purchase closed on April 1st of 2024. The
Tata Farms.
The Tata Farms.
Oh, okay.
So they got the offer accepted, and that must have been like the beginning of 2024 when she had that Zoom with Christine. Because people said they saw Valentine's decor in Christine's house. I didn't notice that. I thought it was still Christmas.
Yeah, I thought it was all Christmas. I thought that was Christmas. And then we see, because when they drive to Moab, right? Christine and David, it's snowing. But then in the last episode, it was snowing and they had to get on the road. And then this episode, everything seems really clear. So I'm a little confused.
Yeah, I think those are two different trips. Yeah, I don't know. It's confusing. And then let's see. Yes, because the listener also said that Christine closed on the Moab property January 8th, 2024.
Okay. Yeah, well, that tracks with the timeline of what we're seeing.
And all the Coyote Pass footage is all over the place. We don't know what year or season, because it looks like it's warm outside. In this episode, we're going to talk about people were wearing shorts. Short sleeves. Ari's wearing shorts, and pretty much all the stuff that we've seen. Kody's out there in short sleeves with the realtor. So that has to be either early fall 2023 or after 2024, spring 2024. Which this feels all so fake.
A lot of it does.
A lot of it seems
and it really irritates me that Kody keeps talking to us like we're idiots, like we're real idiots, because that whole thing of like, well, ladies, if you want to figure this out, then it's like, dude, you put your name on every part of the thing. But and we do hear from I don't know if it was Meri or I think it was Janelle who said this. She said, yeah, you want to put, I talked to him about it. I would help him, but that would require him relinquishing some control, right? Or putting everybody's names on all the deeds. So stop talking to us like we don't understand what's going on.
Yeah, like we don't understand money.
Or how property works.
Yeah.
But here's my question. Kody is lamenting the entire time about wanting, should we just buy, keep one of the parcels near the pond, but I'm thinking to myself, who is going to want to buy Coyote Pass?
No one.
If you are, but especially if you and your family are smack dab in the middle of, do you know what I mean? Like who is going to want to build their lives around you all?
Yeah, no one's going to want to be your neighbor while you're out there just using the property as a playground, falling trees and whatever you want to do. So, anyway.
All right. Well, let's dive into it. So we start off in Greenville, North Carolina, and Janelle's getting all of her documents together because So it sounds like what you can speak to this much better than I. It sounds like what the lawyer is saying to her is you need to prove that this account where the money came, like the money that you used to pay from this came from an account that was considered a joint account, a family account. And then I guess she has to go back and prove about what's the money that she put into that account. I'm assuming. Right. Okay.
Yeah, because she took half of her profits from her Las Vegas home, gave it to Robyn to buy that house. And I think Meri also did. And family money went into there. So I think that's what she's talking about. Because she doesn't just want a quarter of that. I'm sure she wants more. I don't know if she'll get it. But yeah, but it's funny because, you know, she's like, oh, this is kind of a pain. It's a big process. And it's like, Janelle, again, you know, with these important financial things, you never bother to even make some notes, like write some stuff down. You know, this can be solved with tracing. I mean, there were checks that were written or wire transfers of some sort. You know, when she got her check from the sale of the house, where did it go? There are banking records. I mean, this can be reconstructed. And it could have been reconstructed a long time ago, but these people are just slow and kind of a little dense.
Yeah. The other thing too is, well, you are the one that's QuickBooks and the accounting, and you're saying that, okay, I took care of the QuickBooks and I made sure that the numbers were right when I sent them to the CPA. So there's a QuickBooks record. Like that's QuickBooks. Then can't you just search in there? That's not hard. And how many giant payments are you making? Or if it was a certain amount, you know, wouldn't there be a certain, again, it doesn't seem as complicated as it should. You know what I mean? It's like, shouldn't all of this be in one place? If you've been tracking this whole time in order to pay your taxes, in order for the family to pay the taxes.
Right.
Isn't this here?
You know when this happened, you know the month and the year. A title company, you know, sent money, wired money, or gave you a check. That check was deposited somewhere. I think the problem comes in when I think they just commingled everything.
Yes, I think that's the problem.
Fund. And so but you can prove how much you got from your house. Okay, you can prove that easily with a couple phone calls. So what is taking so long? Why is this such a hard task?
Well, and the other part of it too is she's saying that this is the only thing that ties her. She said it more than once. This is the only thing that ties her to Robyn and Kody currently, and she wants out. So if there was something that was tying you to these people and you desperately wanted it out, I'm telling you, I would have been going through my stuff that day, the minute I could, to get out of it. And so this is the part about Janelle that I find very perplexing, which is it just, because I don't think she's a lazy person, but you know, what's going on here? And I do wonder if she, even though I think Janelle hides it well, but I think Janelle too is dealing with her own PTSD of being married to Kody, just like how Meri's like worthing up and trying to like be like, wait a second, I have the right to speak my mind. I think Janelle is doing the same thing. And I think that we always thought Janelle was really independent and really spoke, you know, was of her own mind. And I think that's not necessarily true. Yeah. I think that she was following along with Kody a lot of the time. And I think she too is having a hard time, like, you know, standing up for herself, doing all the same stuff that these other women are.
Yeah. Because she says she trusted Kody, and she says, I was really dumb. I don't know why the property was titled like that. And it made sense because it made sense that Kody was on all the properties because he was the unifying force. Okay. Yeah, that's like, you're right. She is having to come to terms with the fact that she really did trust him and he screwed her over, and she thought she was smarter than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, and then we get to Christine and David are going to Moab. Again, no longer in the middle of a snowstorm, as we saw a couple weeks ago. And this is where I'm a little, I'm a big fan of David Woolley, but the shrimp room, at first I was thinking, oh, he's making some terrible dad joke. Like this is a bad dad joke. And then I was like, oh, oh, this is happening. This is serious. Like, what? The shrimp room?
And what movie are they talking about? With the
Animated movie.
shrimp? What? And then they
Yeah, I don't know.
they start doing the Forrest Gump, shrimp dialogue. I don't know. I think this is interesting because, okay, Christine alternates between calling it our house. She calls it our house in Moab several times. But then she also talks about how, she's always wanted to own a short-term rental and it's a big deal to have one. And she's, again, trying to, worthying up. She's going to be independent. There's a lot of that financial independence that she never had, or, she never had financial control. And this is a way for her to have something. But yet I don't know if this is like all her money put into it.
I get the sense that it is. I think, now that she's not having to pay into the family fund, she's now had a full year of getting her full salary. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And living with David, I bet you she's probably, they're living together. I wonder if, now maybe she's not paying rent anymore or some other things, right? So she's in a very different financial position. But I think part of it is she has all this money. And I bet you it was her money. They're married now, so obviously it's theirs. But this is the part that's so interesting about all of this is how much you can tell that this family, like everybody in this family, had to scrape and claw and dig for their own piece of something. And I think that's what we see with Christine's. I think some of the times that desperate, like, this is mine. And that's when she says, my house, I did this. And then I think we see this other times where she's like with David and relaxed. And then it's more like, oh, this is ours. Like she can get into that mode of it. The funniest thing is David's just like, okay. Like he doesn't care. He's not worried, like for him, because he owns property or he's had these things. Like for him, it's just like, you purchased
property.
it.
Yeah.
It's just another property. And he's just kind of like, okay, where are we going? What are we doing? But I want to say something about the shrimp room and the giraffe room. They obviously had a sense of this before they got in that car because they had all of this stuff for it, but it wasn't any pictures of shrimp. It was just the color of shrimp.
Yeah, it was kind of a pale pink color.
That was very perplexing to me, that whole thing. I don't understand why there had to be theme rooms, but okay, got it.
And I didn't catch a look at the giraffe room. What
again? Didn't look like a giraffe. Did it have
giraffe print on the spread or something?
I think it might have just been yellow.
Oh.
And maybe with some brown in there. I don't know.
Wow.
Speaking of brown, Christine's legally changed her name. Boy, she could not wait to change that name. So she loves being a woolly. She's far more productive as a woolly. She's getting a lot more shit done.
That's right. Woolies get stuff done.
Yeah. Well, I think what we've learned from this entire experience is that it is really this whole thing that they've been trying to do. We all know, right, that polygamy doesn't work, but it's almost like everything that they tried to do collectively as a family, you can see now why it was so dysfunctional. It was so unbelievably dysfunctional to what, like we see old scenes from Sister Wives closet meetings, like this whole thing of like having to constantly make decisions by committee.
But it could have worked if Kody was a better leader.
Yes.
And he was able to, he could have made that work. But Kody was the most chaotic person of all.
Yeah.
And he couldn't wrangle everyone and get people to forge, alliances. And, he couldn't do it.
Because he's too worried about himself.
Terrible.
He thinks about himself. To be a good leader, you have to think about other people first.
Yeah.
And then you think about yourself. What's best for the greater common good. Anyway, we'll get to all of that. But I have some feelings about some of his management style.
Well, and I love this, that Christine realizes that they're on the same road where they were when they were fleeing Utah. And they blew out 3 tires on 3 separate vehicles.
Yes.
And then we get the whole flashback of, again, Kody totally mismanaging a situation.
But I think
total chaos.
you know, I think just even seeing those scenes, what's interesting about that is, okay, and it may have been the order, maybe I'm reading something into this, but I think what we saw is Robyn blows a tire. She's driving Kody's special sports car. She blows a tire. Yes, it's the first tire, but it sounds like Kody was much kinder when that happened.
Mm-hmm.
A mile later, Christine blows a tire. And then now Kody I think he took all of that anger and all that frustration out on Christine.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I think this was this very common thing, which is that Robyn never got any of the anger and any of this kind of stuff. I think he gave all of that to the other wives.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is why Robyn is so unhappy and so miserable, is she's now getting the full wrath of all of his anger and all of his frustration. Because you're frustrated and this has happened again, but this is a different person that you're dealing with. Like, she didn't do this on purpose.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just like, but poor Christine, it sounds like she just cut such a short end of the stick all the time.
Yeah, she sure did. Yeah, no wonder it was so easy for her to just pick up and go. I mean, I'm not saying it was easy, but when she made the decision, she did it. You know, she just like executed it, and I'm out. You know, no regret, because she was just treated so horribly.
Yeah.
I've been watching some older episodes, and oh God, that season where, I mean, she was just crying, saying, you know, what did I ever do? Like when he completely rejected her and said they weren't going to have a intimate marriage. And it's just like, and I felt really badly for her. She's just really been jerked around.
Yeah. Well, and you can see that Kody is not a very kind and loving person. Definitely not to her. And he wasn't kind and loving in their marriage. And he wasn't kind and loving when they tried to do these businesses.
No.
And I'm sure, and it seemed like
there was another scene. Was this a flashback? Yeah. Where
about the T-shirts.
She suggested doing T-shirts for My Sister Wives Closet because no jewelry was selling. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I don't want to cheapen our brand with, you know, these cheap ass T-shirts. And she's just kind of like, oh, okay. But then Janelle comes up with this apron idea, and he's like, that's a great idea. And I never even saw an apron. I have a feeling that if Christine would have been allowed to do T-shirts, we would have seen T-shirts.
Sister Wives Closet may have been a huge success, but that's what I'm talking about with leadership. I was just watching that whole thing thinking, that's just bad management. I mean, just to say to somebody, I don't want to cheapen our brand. Like if you made, like, it's like you making a suggestion to me being like, I don't want to cheapen the Cyclical Pop brand, bruh. But the thing is that even if he did not agree with the idea, all he needed to be like is, I think that's a really interesting idea. This is something I'm concerned with. Are people going to think T-shirts are kind of maybe touristy or associate that with There we go. I just gave the feedback in a totally different way. But I think the other thing was that they had the conversation separately, but they were in the interview room with the whole family together. And he says it in front of everybody and just humiliates her. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway.
Right. Well, it's time to go to Coyote Pass.
Oh, boy.
Now, did we talk about this on the show or just to each other about the fact that it's a problem that Kody and Robyn using Coyote Pass land is, especially if Meri and Janelle are also partial owners, that they're using the land recreationally.
Yeah, I mean, they could possibly, I don't know what the laws are in Arizona, but you know, there could be a claim for some rental value.
Did we talk about this on air?
Yeah.
You said this on air. Okay.
We talked about it last week.
Okay. Got it.
Kody is, not only is he keeping this property from them, or he just wants to keep it all for himself and use it himself. He just wants to use it, like I said, like his own little play world.
But technically, if you own something with other people, you cannot just, unless you have this agreement, just use it however, willy-nilly.
Some places, yeah.
Yes. Okay. All right. Well,
I'm just trying to come up with legal theories.
Well, but I think that's a good one. I think it's not wrong. But, this is just going to be a fun Saturday in the Robyn Kody family, because they're going to paint everyone together. They're going to paint the picnic tables on Coyote Pass.
And they paint them like lavender.
Oh, God. But I'm thinking to myself, how you guys are really starved for something.
Yeah.
Right? Like something to put together. Like there's nothing else you all can do. There's this painting, sloughing everyone off and making them paint these things. But they, especially Brianna and Aurora is just these like Stepford children, just like, of course. What 20 some odd year old doesn't want to spend her Saturday painting picnic tables with their family?
Yeah,
they
they act like they're so happy to be there. You know that any other, teen, young person would be out there rolling their eyes.
Yeah.
Being so difficult. I don't want to be here. Yeah, it's these scenes that they're making up because they don't like to film in their house. We all know that.
Mm-hmm.
All their scenes are outside.
Yeah. And they are they're painful to watch because they are so inauthentic. They are so inauthentic. And, that's the thing is that Kody and Robyn are inauthentic. I think the two older kids feel very inauthentic. Mm-hmm. Honestly, the person that I think is the most authentic is Ari.
Yeah. She's just being her. She's doing her thing.
Because that's who she is. But this whole thing about how, Paul, her father, and he built these picnic tables and just the way they were acting about the importance and significance of picnic tables. And, this is part of Paul's legacy is that he built these 4 picnic tables so that there's a picnic table in every backyard. So everyone can gather around at every backyard. All of it. Every last bit of it was felt very scripted. I don't think they worked on a script together, but it felt very scripted. It felt very like we need to show the world how we are a very special unit within ourselves.
Yeah.
And how we are.
I thought it was interesting too. I know I'd heard this before, but it was good to be reminded that Paul and her mother lived in Las Vegas.
Well, Paul, I think her mother didn't live in Vegas. I think, wasn't it the first wife that lived in Vegas? And didn't she say that Paul and the first wife, who was one of the mom's best friends, he was a surveyor in Vegas and he was there Monday through Friday. And then he would come on the weekends to be with Robyn and her mom and her unit.
From Las Vegas to where?
I don't know. St. George?
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Because Robyn's mom was like a second wife.
Yes. But she was a second wife for him, but she had been married before Robyn's biological father, but they had already divorced.
Right. I don't think he was a polygamist.
The first father. Yeah.
Her biological father. I don't think he was a polygamist. The polygamy doesn't come in until Alice and Paul get together. And Paul was Alice was friends with Paul's first wife or something.
Yeah. And she was like, hey, what do you think about Paul?
Right.
I bet you anything. She was like, I got to get rid of this guy on the weekends. He's driving me nuts.
Yeah.
How do I do that?
But my point about Las Vegas is that, is it a coincidence that that's where they moved and that's where, her favorite person was? I assume he still spent time there. I don't know where I don't know where he was living at the time, but obviously there was a Las Vegas connection.
Yes.
And so they went there and just interesting. I don't know.
I wrote the same thing down. I said, so did Kody pick Vegas for Robyn as well? How did we land here? It is very, very telling.
Also, did you notice they were doing the flashbacks to when he was there at the birth, taking pictures and stuff.
Oh, dear God. Yeah.
And I noticed that behind the bed, up on the wall above the bed, there was this weird semi-nude picture of Robyn, like a sort of boudoir type photo. Did you see? Am I imagining?
No. I feel like I need to go back.
Yeah, I paused it and I was looking at it and I was like, "What is this?"
Oh, how weird!
And you've seen their weird shots with them leading up, dry humping practically on the Lexus. Robyn's got like high heels on. She's all on top of him, on top of the
oh gosh,
the Not the roof. What's the front of the car called?
The hood.
The hood. Thank you. I'm losing it.
Yeah. Oy. Yeah. And then we get into this whole thing about how, the death of Paul, and Kody's like, oh, the world wasn't so safe for you, Robyn, after Paul died. I just feel like this is the weirdest. It's just married couples don't talk like this to each other. It's very performative. You're performing for us. Kody is showing us, oh, I know Robyn so well. And, and Paul, she was a quote unquote, what is it? You want to show us that she's a daddy's girl, or she had a significant relationship with Paul. Yeah, great. Everyone likes their dad. Okay.
Yeah, you're not special because you had a good relationship with your dad or your stepdad or whatever.
And then it gets into this whole thing about how much, Paul loved Kody and he revealed all this. He told Kody stories that he hadn't told anybody else. Mm-hmm. And so then we have to get into this whole thing about how he's so special.
Yeah. And they're just these platitudes.
Thank you.
Every Saturday, Paul had a project. But then Kody says, he was always safe for you, talking to Robyn. Mm-hmm. And when he was gone, the world wasn't as safe for you, was it?
Yes.
How many times did they practice that?
But see, what we're seeing now is Kody has now taken parts of Robyn and Robyn's influence, safe and thinking about things, but he's sort of filtered it into his narcissistic way. So it just, instead of it's not sweet. It's just really uncomfortable narcissism of why do you need to tell us how Paul thought you were so special? Why do you need us to know that?
Well, I think they know that they're the villains of the show. And I think they're trying to rehab their image, really.
Yeah.
With all this, we're one big happy family out here, all painting and sanding together.
But it shows you how little awareness that they truly have, and the fact that they really are like they understand that they're quote unquote the villains, but they don't understand why. Mm-hmm. And they think that, all we need to do is if I show you how good I am, how nice I am, then you will like me. And it's a little bit like, no, that's not the point. Like, no, people are asking you to show us you being real and authentic. And it's like, oh no, we can't do that.
Yeah. Like they're trying to say, look, we're not bad people. We had these great relationships over here. Paul loved me. And
he built us picnic tables.
Yeah. And Robyn and Paul had this wonderful relationship. So she can't be evil. Mm-hmm. She can't be manipulative. Paul wouldn't like that.
Yeah.
So it's not us. It's these other women. They're the ones that are the bad people. We're not bad people.
Yeah. And that's the part. It's like, we have eyes, right? We can see what's going on. But yeah.
Well, yeah. And then, just the manicness of this. They start out, Kody flips over a table and he just starts sanding and vigorously and trying to show them how to do it. And he's like, I'm not teaching the kids how to paint. I'm just using their labor to get it done. And it's like, oh, well, great. Like, okay. And Kody is showing off. He knows how to sand. He knows how to paint. Okay, great.
Well, the other part of it too is, I don't know. I'm starting to really feel for Ari because I see Ari because I think I am Ari. I think that I would have gotten all that paint on myself.
Yeah.
I would have been.
You would.
I would have. And that's the thing. It's like, but they're kind of like half making fun of her and half judging her. And it's like, you know what? Then Kody, if you want free labor, then sorry, she's a kid. She's 8, 9, 10? Like she's a kid. So what? She's painting but that's the part about it that's irritating. Is a real parent would be like, okay, well, my kid's going to be painting, so God knows where it's going,
Yeah,
whatever.
or don't put their good clothes on. You're going out to paint. You're going to put on some grubby clothes.
Yeah. So what do you care if there's paint on them?
Yeah.
But it's just the fact that she had to be kind of called out for it and judged for it, and as if this is a bad thing. It's just like, God, just leave. She's a kid. She's out there. She's out there not complaining.
No.
So you should just be grateful you're getting free labor.
Yeah. I mean, he totally yelled at her, stop, move back. And then Robyn says, no more paint for you. You're done with the paint. God, I felt really badly for her.
Yeah. I see you, Ari. I see you. Psych Legal Pop. We'll be back after these messages.
This message comes from Jackson. Taxes aren't something you can only think about once a year. With investments, planning for tax day is year-round. Fortunately, Jackson offers tax-efficient products. Visit jackson.com for more information on how our products can make your tax bill a little bit less painful. Jackson is short for Jackson Financial Incorporated, Jackson National Life Insurance Company, Lansing, Michigan, and Jackson National Life Insurance Company of New York, Purchase, New York.
It's, and some people are just messier.
That's right. And painting is messy.
It is
very painted messy. And not gotten some paint on something. And then they do this weird thing where Kody, they only painted, this was weird from a continuity standpoint. They paint one table and Kody says, I think we're done. And then they all do this hee-haw, this family cheer. It's like, okay. And then the next time we see them, all four tables are painted.
Mm-hmm.
Notice that?
Yes.
So
and the other thing too was, I saw that he had flipped the table over. So you had to make sure that the top was dry before you flip it over, because you're going to get paint on that. Yeah, it did seem a little like that. I don't know if it was the continuity or what was going on.
I don't think they painted those that day. I think they started painting one table for show, to do their little scene. But really, someone in production had already painted all the tables, and then they brought the tables out.
Yeah.
Because there's no way they painted all those tables, and they were dry, and you could sit on them, and you have to do a couple of coats.
Yeah, there was something off about all that.
Yeah.
But before we get there, we have to go back to North Carolina because Janelle is doing a video call with Meri. So Meri has seen the light. She is worthying up. She is, she wants to talk to Janelle about what's going on. And then we learn a little bit about how, of course, I love this. Meri's like, well, I've known Janelle longer than I've known Kody. It's like, yeah, no shit. We all know she was married to your brother.
Mm-hmm.
But, we get into this whole thing about how, what was it? Janelle was saying, she's like, I've always put Meri in the Robyn, Kody, Meri camp.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really cross paths with Meri, but, and we don't get, basically what she's saying is we've never really gotten along and we probably would never be friends, but we have this vested interest in something and we're on the same page, which is good.
Yeah, that's good. They're being pretty, friendly now.
Yeah. But Meri says she's going to hire a lawyer. Janelle says that Janelle keeps going back and forth. Sometimes she says I've hired a lawyer. Sometimes she says I'm talking to a lawyer. Sometimes that's again, the continuity stuff. And then of course we hear, from, Kody, who says, we did not pay for Coyote Pass equally. I paid the entire amount for one plot, at least 92% of it.
92%. Kody, how did you do that? Then, so why didn't you put only your name on it?
That's an interesting question. Because he's such a magnanimous, generous person. So he also put Robyn's name on it too.
Of course.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. So it's like, how does this was the argument that I thought was so bizarre, because I'm like, but wait a second. If in turn, you've been telling us this whole time, you have this family account that everyone puts money in and you divide it up depending on what people needed and what people didn't need and all of this other kinds of stuff. So how were you able to save enough money to pay for an entire plot yourself?
Yeah. And
that makes no sense.
Yeah. With all those kids and all the stuff you were paying for that he's always complaining about, he's full of shit.
If you took a bunch of money out of the family account and paid for the plot yourself, Kody, that's not you paying for it yourself. Maybe you went and wrote the check by yourself.
And was it this episode or the last episode where, I think it's this episode, Janelle says something about because again, she saw what was going in and out, but she had no control over it. And she said that basically, at some point, all this money was just going out to Kody and Robyn. She didn't know what it was for. Now we know it was all that hurt and the big geodes. But
yeah.
Well,
yeah, this is where Meri says, when the plots were divided up, she did at the time tried to talk to Kody about it, and he would get angry and defensive, which is a real narcissistic. That's like a very common trait and a tactic of manipulative people, which is when someone comes to you and wants to have a conversation, you refuse to engage. So you engage by getting mad, getting defensive, and people don't want to argue, and the other person doesn't want to argue. So, and I'm starting to feel really bad for Meri because you like, I'm really understanding her now. I really get it, because she starts talking about how this last decade of her life, she has basically been, essentially gaslit a bit. She doesn't say that word, but she, gets into this whole thing of, and Kody really I have to say, he set this up well with her, which is he created this thing where you cannot ask me questions and I'm mad at you. And so in order for you to re-earn your love and trust from me, you can't question me on anything. And then I'm going to continue to do things, but you can't question me. It was like, yeah, Meri was in a losing battle. She really was. It was never going to be successful.
Yeah. He just kept moving the goalpost every time. And she even questions, was this the plan when we did that legal divorce?
Yeah.
Just the beginning. And I think it was, at least in part.
Yeah, she says that, doesn't know where Kody, she's like, I know where my heart was when I divorced, but I now don't know where Kody and Robyn's heart was when we had the legal divorce. And I think we're seeing more and more. I'm back to my original theory that I really do think that it was the presence of Robyn, not the TV show, that created all of this. Because you can see even from what Janelle was saying about how they used to think about money and pay bills back when it was the three wives, and how much that changed when Robyn came in, and how, this core sort of way in which they ran the family, that was gone. And obviously it seemed like either Robyn was able to manipulate Kody to get all these things, or Kody was so gaga in love that he kept giving her these things. I don't know which one it was. Probably a little bit of both.
Yeah, I think it was both. He wanted to please her. He wanted to keep her. And she also, I think, saw that she could get more.
Yeah.
These other women were used to not getting it.
Yeah.
And they weren't speaking up. So.
Yeah. I don't know. I really think Robyn, she walked into that family determined to be the best favorite wife. She really figured out how to win his favor. And, Kody's not that bright. So he bought it hook, line, and sinker for sure. Yes, we hear from Janelle that Kody has two speeds, either ignoring her about the property or he is gung-ho. And the gung-ho, I guess, makes her wonder. So she doesn't trust that or him.
Yeah, she has suspicions. She thinks he's doing something shady and doesn't want anyone to know. And I'm sure she's right. And
and this is where Kody gets into this. I'm not your servant, ladies. You can do the footwork yourself if you want to do this. It's like, oh God, again.
Yeah, again, they volunteered to do it, and you said no. You don't want to relinquish control.
Yeah, but he would have had to put their names on the titles. So I don't know. And then what was it? Who was it that was this where who suggested this? It was Meri who suggested they go and have a conversation, like go to Flagstaff, have a conversation with Kody and Robyn Like, what if we all got together and talked this out? And this is where Janelle, and I think this is right on, which is, I don't want to confront them. I don't want to go do that. And you have tried to do that. You all tried that before many times. That's not going to work anymore. The only thing that's going to work is getting something on legal paper, on legal letterhead. I really,
Yeah, I mean, get someone else in there, and disinterested third party who doesn't care, and can't be manipulated by
Kody's charisma and charm. And then we go back to Moab, and David loves the new place. That was not shocking at all. Christine's all worried and nervous about showing David this place, and she's so worried he's going to criticize it. I wonder why. Maybe your last spouse criticized everything you did constantly. But David comes in and he loves it. He thinks it's great. So
yes, that's the right
You've
answer.
redeemed yourself again, David. From the shrimp room, you've redeemed yourself. Okay.
Yeah. And this is where she goes into even more into how, as a woman, you need to have something in your name, financial security. And it's just so weird how she says these things. She she wants to be a more effective human being, to have income producing property.
But this is where she gets into this whole thing where we talked about this whole thing with what happened when they were trying to start the business and how she was treated. There were sort of two big things in this scene at the Moab, which is Janelle was coming to see her, to support her. And then all of a sudden, all these people show up. God, they have a lot of family. I guess I'm crazy for thinking they should be hiring movers.
He has 8 kids.
Yeah. So, but cousins and all these people showed up to help them. And then this is when we learn that, Kody really would wing construction projects. And there was usually a bolt or two.
Right. It's like, oh, well, there's a couple leftover bolts here, but it's good enough.
And Janelle talks about how, just seeing Christine and David together, they're far more playful than how she was with Kody. And sort of what the reaction was when she said to everyone that she was leaving. She didn't realize, and Janelle cried. And I don't think Janelle cries much. And I think that's what impacted her. So, and she didn't realize how this was going to impact other people. And then, Janelle came over by herself and, wanted to figure out, how do we stay connected? But the other part of what she was talking about is back to the sister wives closet. But she said the safest role for her was being a mom. And we could see, every time, she any kind of business thing that she would do, from my sister's wife's closet. And I think now I understand why Janelle and Christine were in and out and in and out and in and out the whole time. When we were doing our rewinds, we would talk about that. They were they were in it, they were out, they didn't want to do it. And I think a lot of it was this. I think that it was how she was being made to feel about her role in the family. And I think that when it came to everything else, I think Kody was very, very critical of her, except when it came to her being a mother.
Yeah, because what could he criticize? She was doing everything for everybody. Yeah, and Janelle, remember when Kody said that Robyn was basically like the CEO when they had a session with Nancy or something about that? He said Robyn was the CEO, and then Janelle, I think, did tear up. And she said, well, what is my role here? I'm the one who's up at night making spreadsheets and doing whatever. Yeah. So he totally insulted both of them.
Yeah.
In this process, and held Robyn up on this pedestal. Like, she's running this business. She's doing everything. She's just so great. And then remember when Christine finally, after a couple of attempts, she passed her real estate exam.
Yeah.
And then she found out she would have to work nights and weekends.
Yes.
And she was like, well, wait a minute, because he doesn't help her. He has no help with her kids. And instead of working with her and being supportive and saying, well, how can we work this out? He's just like, okay, then don't do it. Yeah. Literally, just all that hard work that she had put in, and she took the test twice. He just completely threw that in the garbage. Like, okay, then don't. And got kind of pissy about it. And you could tell she wanted him to say, oh no, we can work this out. It'll work out. I'll help you. Something. Nothing.
Mm-hmm. No. So you could see as a leader, he had zero tact, zero diplomacy.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree, like companies need to have a CEO. There needs to be a leader. Like trying to get stuff done by committee never works. And, you can, but what Kody really did not get is that because he kept getting stuck on this whole thing about like the wives aren't going to listen to the other wives. I wonder if that was Robyn's issue.
Mm-hmm.
If he said, no, Robyn, you should be the CEO. Let's make you the CEO. And then Robyn says, well, in plural families, sister wives have a hard time listening to other sister wives. And that's where he came up with that whole idea of that. But yeah, I mean, he was never encouraging of anything. And I bet you anything, when he heard nights and weekends, I'm sure he was like, oh no, I can't,
That's where I go to Robyn's every night.
I can't do that. And Aspen's left for college or something soon. Hold on. Daddy Logan's gone.
Who's going to take care of the kids if Christine's not here? No, we don't have that.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But she said that she learned that she was, she could do it herself after Isabel's surgery. She realized she didn't need Kody. Isabel needed Kody, but not her.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I think that it's if you don't grow up in this kind of family, if you don't grow up in this religion, I think it's really hard to kind of get like, why did this take you so long? But it really it was just each of these women had to almost get permission from something or someone.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the first one was Isabel's surgery. And I think it was just like, she was like, I can do this. I don't need this man. And I bet you anything, the surgery and taking Isabel to do the surgery was 150 times easier without him.
Oh, of course.
Without his input, without him being there. And I think that's what she felt. I think she felt like I don't need to be with him and I don't need him. And I'm happier.
Yeah. And also remember, he didn't even want Isabel to have the surgery, but because he's probably not on her birth certificate and has no, I'm sure he wasn't on Truly's. We found that out. And she was born on television. Jesus. I mean, yeah, he had no legal rights, so he couldn't stop it. And yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, and then this is where Kody goes back to, because Janelle mentions this whole thing about how he's pulling out money randomly. We used to do everything by committee. And Cody's like, I'm a father of 18. That money needs to go to many places. And that's not Janelle's business. And it's like, okay, but hold on a second. I have a bookkeeper for my business. She asks me, what is this for? Where is this going? It's like, I'm not saying to her, well, that's none of your business. It's like, no, the person who keeps the books needs to know where's the money.
But it is Janelle's business. She's a partner in this family. And until Robyn came along, everybody worked. It sounded like they worked together to get bills paid and to get things done. And yes, it is her business.
Yeah,
she's putting her earnings into this family pot. So of course it's her business. That's such a ridiculous. He's just, he has no leg to stand on. There's nothing he can say. So he's just going to say something stupid like that. That's all he can do.
And that's the thing that just drives me nuts. It's like, wow, you really think everybody's really dumb, don't you? And I bet you anything, right? This is this whole story he's convinced himself of. This story of how, these women say such awful things and this is why the world hates me. And it's like, no, you keep saying these awful things. Yeah. You keep doing this.
We're watching you.
Yeah. All right. Well, then I think we skipped over a little bit of this, but during this time, we see that they just had so much fun painting those picnic tables that they're going to go back to have a picnic and use the tables.
But this is the same day, right? They're all in the same clothes, aren't they?
Are they? No, I felt like this was a new day.
Oh, this is a new day.
It is a new day.
Okay.
Definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, they're going to, roast some hot dogs and marshmallows and enjoy the land.
Because it might be the last time that they're there.
Yeah. And, then we have to learn about this whole thing about Kody and the property and blah, blah, blah. Robyn, her heart aches every time she thinks about Coyote Pass. And then we get Kody's whole thing of back and forth and like, should we sell it? Then I think we should sell it. Then I think we shouldn't sell it. And then I think, maybe we should just buy this one piece of property. And then I think this, and then I think that. It's like, God.
They're doing this all in front of the kids, which is just,
yes.
No, that's not good. You shouldn't be talking about this in front of them. But
well, and also you didn't want to talk about moving in front of Ariella. Ariella, sorry, Ari. You felt like Ari and Saul couldn't handle the idea of Meri moving.
Yeah,
but you're talking about the rest of the stuff in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, did you skip over this?
No.
Kody splitting wood.
Oh God.
Now, first of all, him wielding that axe, how just amped up he is.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost scary, because he's just he's splitting this wood, and he's just manic,
Yeah.
Looked very dangerous. And then Brianna wants to try to split wood, and he's like, well, as soon as I start the fire, he doesn't really want to let her help. But he was just being so manic. And then he's praising his work on the tables, how great they are. And he says, now every spring I'm going to have to come out and put a new coat on top. And then that's when they start getting into, well, will we even have this property next spring? And I mean, they're all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
This little scene they've constructed, they're just all over the place.
Well, yeah, he's super manic about the wood. He's like, I have to chop enough wood for the fire. Mm-hmm. And then finally, he's like, oh, okay, Brianna, you can try it. Now you put your hand up here and you put your hand here and you weld it. And then he gives it to her and he's like, okay, bye.
Good luck.
Good luck with that. I hope you don't chop your head off. Yeah. And he's sitting in a chair. I mean, the hair, you could see the bald spots really coming out. He's sitting in a chair. He's doing this. And this energy and
yeah.
I truly think that he like sucks. I mean, I said this last time, like just sucks the life from Robyn. Like, I think this is what's sucking the life from her. This is why she has no energy. Yeah. And she's so lethargic because this guy is so manic all the time.
He is.
Sucks the life from all of us. I think we understand Brianna and Aurora now. I think Dayton was like, I got to get out of here. This guy is a vampire and I got to leave because we don't ever talk about Dayton at all.
No. Yeah, no, he's clearly said,
nope.
Don't talk about me. I don't want to be on here. I wonder if he's even still living in that house.
Yeah. Or how much he's even seeing them or talking to them.
Yeah.
I don't know. My guess is he's still probably around and in their lives, but that and the kids are skipping stones and it's just all of this. But this whole end of this about, Kody's talking about, I don't know, should I just sell Coyote Pass or should I keep it or should I just keep one section? And Kody's like, my intention is just not to deal with it.
Yeah, we know. Again, we're watching you. We can see. This is too hard. Kody has never been able to deal with a really hard situation. He just can't. He can't. He can't. Again, this goes back to his lack of leadership, his lack to make any sort of executive decisions or hard decisions or get themselves out of a hard situation gracefully. Not just packing up and moving your family in the middle of the night. He doesn't know how to do something, plan it out, think about it, execute it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you got to make a decision. And,
but then he says, well, I don't want to be unfair to Janelle and Meri. I'm like, yeah, you're just telling us that because you're on camera.
Well, and then he starts getting
this is the kids thing. No, we skipped over the asking about the kids. That whole weird section. Did we talk about
what kids?
Where he was asking Aurora and Brianna.
I think that's
Is that after this?
Is after this.
Okay. You go then.
Because he's being like really melancholy, talking about how this spot is the last place that everyone was together. And yeah, I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah.
And Robyn's like, everyone just wants out of the pain. I mean, they're just being very dramatic. I don't know what else to say.
But then they go into this whole thing about Brianna and Aurora and getting married, and do you want to have kids, and what's considered a big family, and then Kody is asking these women, you know, his daughters, like, oh, you want to have kids? How many kids do you want to have? And what is this like? And all of this stuff. And, oh, it's okay. You don't have to be a polygamist. And again, it's a little bit like, do you guys ever talk?
Well, I think it's very strange that they've obviously thought a lot about this. Like, you know, Aurora says she wants to have 3 to 5 kids. Brianna wants 4 kids. And Robyn thinks that this is cool, that the kids are thinking about it. And it's like, these are college girls. The last thing they should be doing is thinking about how many kids they want to have. I mean, I feel like they, again, a lot like with the church stuff, I think they're desperate to get out on their own, and basically meeting some guy at church and get married and having kids is the way out. Like, they can't wait 4 years to finish college. Like, that's too long.
No.
And even then, Robyn's not just going to let them go out into the big bad world, you know.
They can't bring home some rando.
Yeah, I mean, at this point in time, currently, I believe Aurora is like 23, and, you know, she's living there. I don't know if she's graduated yet, but she should be close to, at least. I mean, yeah, they've thought about this. This is part of their escape plan.
But just how he makes everything so much more than what it is. And I guess, listen, I am not a camper. I am not like an outdoorsy kind of a gal. Like, I like hiking. I like the woods, but I like outdoors for a couple hours.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit. So I am not the person that is your ideal person for a Coyote Pass. But what I find so weird is how much he spends. He talks about, like, this is the magic of Coyote Pass. It's magical. This is just a precious day. You know, the way he just like almost misty-eyed about how special all of this is and how amazing it is. And it's just the fact that he kind of can't, and then, you know, the family's apart now. So now it's part of pain and sadness and bitterness and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, you know, you have control over this. You do know, like, just the fact that he attributes everything, he attributes everything to, oh, it's the property. The property is the source of sadness that we can't control, or any of these things. It's like, no, Anyway, it's just so perplexing to me how he doesn't see this. He just doesn't see it. I just don't get it.
No, he had this fantasy of moving there, building this big house, and having all of his children and grandchildren live there. Totally unrealistic fantasy. And when it was clear to him that it was not going to happen, he should have just sold the property, should have let it go. I mean, he's put way too much stock into this property. And in fact, I think it's the opposite. This property has caused, like, pretty much all of his problems. You know?
Yeah.
So,
well, that, and I'm going to amend my earlier statement to that it wasn't the show, but it was the presence of Robyn. I think it was this. I think that if Robyn hadn't come into the family and it was just the show, I think they could have made it. And I do wonder if Robyn came into the family, I think the show emboldened, is that the right word? Kody, to think that he was this incredibly special person. And I think this is how all of this started. So suddenly everything that he does is so special and unique. And do you know what I mean? I just had some thoughts about this.
Yeah.
I haven't fully fleshed them out yet.
Well, because he has always been the type of person to enjoy attention, love attention. So yeah, this fed into that, and it kind of made a monster out of him.
Yeah. So it was like Robyn came in and he was getting that daily attention, the daily attention that he wanted and to be seen and heard. And then he gets this larger attention. And I think it was this combination of both of those things that, that drove him to where he is today, to this like narcissistic person who can't seem to get out of his own way and see the ways in which he's created all of these problems that he's lamenting. And then he could solve them too. Not all of them, but most of them.
Yeah, that's way too much for him.
Yeah. All right. So next, what was I going to say? Next scenes next week. Did you write that down?
Yeah, let's see. So Janelle is moving to North Carolina. Aurora wants to get baptized.
And that's a big decision.
I guess so. Let's see. Meri. Oh, I guess she's talking about moving into the inn. I thought she already lived there.
Yeah, I thought that too, but maybe she lives in or maybe it's divided where she has her own unit, and maybe the idea of it is like, listen, Meri, this inn isn't going to happen.
Yeah, just make the whole thing your house.
Yeah, make it your house, and then you can use it for worthy events.
Yeah, because she says it depends on the man that she finds.
Yes,
she doesn't know about. That makes sense, because didn't something just come out about her getting a loan for a remodel job? So maybe she's remodeling the inn to just be like one big house, and that's going to be her house. Because
good,
I don't think anyone's staying there.
Listen, Meri, you don't need people to stay there. Don't wait for a man to come around. I like the fact that you're doing all this stuff now. This is good. Good. You start moving forward. Do what you want to do, Meri. If you want to live in this big giant house and it's all you and you do it however you want, great. You do.
Yeah. And then we see Christine and Janelle doing a shot in a bar in Louisiana. Yes. I guess it's on the way to their. I love how everyone always has to come with everyone else to move.
Yes.
Obviously, Christine and David are helping her move. It's just.
Well, but Janelle wouldn't be in the show. If Janelle wasn't having video calls and helping people move and moving, then she would not be in this show at all. Now, one thing that we did not cover that I want to talk about is knocking on people's doors.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So Christine was all perturbed because her house, people could just walk right in. And she was complaining that Robyn and Meri had a lot of rules. Now, I don't often agree with Robyn and Meri, but I agree with them on this one. Yeah. And I was really surprised that this is how that Christine sort of sees closeness as being no boundaries. And it's like, no, people have the right to have boundaries. And you lived next door to our mother in her rental unit. I lived next door to our mother. And it was very clear, every time even though we lived next door, we always knocked on each other's doors. You respected that. And you waited for the person to say, come in. Is that so crazy?
No, still to this day, I knock.
Yes.
Now that our mom is older and she has trouble, I don't want her to have to get up and come to the door.
But I always knock and say, Mom.
Yeah, I'll knock. And then usually she'll say, coming or something. And then I open the door and I'm like, oh, it's just me. Don't get up, but prior to that, I would knock and I would wait. And I would do the same at our dad's house too. I mean, and you do. I don't come to your house and just walk.
But you know what? When Max's door is closed, I knock on it and I wait for him to say, come in. And then I open the door. I don't ever, people have the right to privacy. And I don't think there's anything, if Meri wants to walk around naked, she has the right to do that if that's what she wants. So that's the other thing too, is I do wonder where, now we did see the stuff on Robyn's fridge about taking food, all of that kind of stuff. And we did hear about them having lots of rules, but I do wonder if maybe, because Christine needs a few more boundaries with people and that maybe Christine was a little too free with all of it.
Yeah. I wonder if it was because the majority of the kids were either at Christine's or at Janelle's. And maybe Kody started this where those are his kids. He has to have access to his kids. But yeah, I don't know if they're talking more about the wives knocking. Kody, I'm sure, just bursts in wherever, whoever's house he's going to. But yeah, that's only polite and respectful. So.
Yes. All right. Final words about that. Okay. Let's wrap it up.
Whew.
Thank you so much for tuning in. We so appreciate that you're here. If you want to hear more from us and you're not already a member, go check out our Patreon. We have lots of great stuff over there to check out. You can, please, if you haven't already, please give us a 5-star rating and review, and subscribe to the podcast. We are on, I was reminded of this. So we are on social media on Psych Legal Pop at TikTok, Instagram, and Blue Sky.
And Facebook.
Sorry. I always think of Instagram and Facebook, same thing. And Facebook, and Blue Sky. So I was told we need to start plugging that because we are on Blue Sky.
I've never been on Blue Sky.
Yeah, it's like Twitter. I know more about it mainly from my clients who use it than I really understand it myself. But I think that it's this, it's its own thing. Separate from that. So yeah, so if you're a Blue Sky person, go check us out there. All right.
Okay.
And I think that's it. We'll see you all next time. Thanks.
Bye.
This message comes from Jackson. Taxes aren't something you can only think about once a year. With investments, planning for tax day is year-round. Fortunately, Jackson offers tax-efficient products. Visit jackson.com for more information on how our products can make your tax bill a little bit less painful. Jackson is short for Jackson Financial Incorporated, Jackson National Life Insurance Company, Lansing, Michigan, and Jackson National Life Insurance Company of New York, Purchase, New York.